This year's Dashaik celebrations come to a conclusion tomorrow with Kojagrat Purnima, while people have continued to receive Tika, Jamara and blessings from their elders on the fourth day of Vijaya Dashami Tika today. In other news, Nepal faltered in the finals of the three-nation T20 series, failing to go past UAE in the tournament final that was played earlier today. Meanwhile, the Israel-Gaza warfare is completing its third weeks of hostilities, with neither side relenting to pressure from the international community to observe a ceasefire. Good evening, I'm Sarah Sapsanamma. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. Nepal falter in the finals of three-nation T20I series as UAE lift the title with a 3 wickets victory. Ayan Afzal Khan adjudged player of the match. Former Gurkha soldiers gives an ultimatum to the British Prime Minister demanding equal pension pay. Call comes ahead of Nepal-Britain ministerial level talks. Israeli troops conduct targeted raids inside Gaza for a second straight night as they prepare for the next stage of war against Hamas. And cornered Pakistan battling against South Africa in a do-or-die encounter of the ICC World Cup 2023. Head towards a below-par total. On the fourth day of Vijaya Dashami Tika, younger members of families have continued receiving Tika, Jamara and blessings from their elders. Those who were not able to receive Tika, Jamara and blessings from the elders on the main day of Dashain on Tuesday have continued to receive them today as well. Some communities in the country receive Tika only on the 10th day of Dashain, while others continue to observe the festival for additional 5 days. The Nepal Calendar Determination Committee has said that Tika can be received until the full moon day of Kojagrat Purnima tomorrow, the last day of the ongoing Dashain festival. The Gurkha Army ex-servicemen's organisation has once again given an ultimatum to the British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak to implement equal pension for Gurkha Army on par with the British Army. This comes amid preparations for a ministerial level meeting between the United Kingdom and Nepal. Ex-Gurkha Army have expressed doubts over the British government's willingness to address their demands. On behalf of the Gurkha Satyagraha Struggle Committee, Krishna Bahadur Rai submitted the ultimatum to the British Prime Minister's office in London. The government of two sides are to hold a meeting on the 22nd of November next month. Former Gurkha servicemen have said if the meeting fails to discuss their demands of equal pension pay, they will be compelled to go for another round of hunger strike. The upcoming November 22nd meeting is the third ministerial level meeting and comes after several stages of discussions and preparations. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion. The question is, what should be done to control smuggling through border points? Your options are A. Ensure active security management, B. Honesty by officials, and C. Action against those guilty of involvement. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Time now for international update. Israeli troops conducted targeted raids inside Gaza for a second straight night, the Israel Defense Forces have said, as they prepare for the next stage of war against Hamas in response to the deadly October 7 attacks. Pressure is building on the international community to persuade Israel to allow desperately needed aid into Gaza, where the humanitarian crisis is deepening as Israeli forces conduct daily airstrikes. The UN and several countries in the region have called for an immediate ceasefire, while others, including the European Union, advocate for a humanitarian pause in fighting. The main United Nations agency aiding Palestinians said its operations are being paralyzed in the coastal enclave due to the lack of fuel, as Israel maintains its blockade and insists supplies exist but are controlled by Hamas. Meanwhile, the families of hostages being held by Hamas in Gaza warned the Israeli government their patience has run out and urged authorities to act immediately. The Israel Defense Forces said Shadi Baroud, the deputy head of Hamas's intelligence arm, was killed in a targeted operation. The UN's top humanitarian official, Martin Griffiths, has said aid is barely trickling into Gaza after days of warnings over rapidly depleting fuel supplies. A member of a Hamas delegation visiting Russia has said the group cannot release the captives taken during the October 7 attack until there is a ceasefire in Gaza. The US says it struck Iranian and pro-Iranian sites in Syria in action it said was separate and distinct from the Israel-Hamas war. Gaza's health ministry has published the names of thousands of Palestinians killed in the Israeli attacks, saying behind every number is a story of a person after US President Joe Biden questioned the reliability of its death toll. At least 7,028 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli attacks since October 7th, as Israel promises to continue raids into Palestinian territories. More than 1,400 people were killed in Hamas attack on Israel. Israel says more than 220 are still being held hostage in Gaza. Now, another 8 trucks carrying food, medicine and water are expected to cross into the Gaza Strip today, a senior United Nations official has said, as a combination of technical, political and security issues were hindering deliveries. Lynn Hastings, the UN humanitarian coordinator for the occupied Palestinian territory, told reporters in Geneva that detailed negotiations were taking place with Israel in a bid to secure more humanitarian crossings in the densely populated enclave, which has been hit by unrelenting airstrikes and have killed thousands in response to surprise attacks by Hamas gunmen on 7th of October. There is still no agreement to get fuel in Gaza, and the UN Palestinian Refugee Agency has said the absence of fuel was jeopardizing life-saving humanitarian operations in there. Officials are also grappling with the issue of deciding how to distribute the scant aid. Speaking at the same briefing, Richard Peppercorn, WHO representative for the occupied Palestinian territory, said the agency had received estimates that some 1,000 unidentified bodies are still buried under the rubble in Gaza, which are not yet included in the death toll. Earlier in the day, Gazans lined up outside a UN Development Program water station, eager to fill up canisters and bottles with fresh water. Supplies of food, water, medicines and fuel have been running critically low for Gaza's 2.3 million people since Israel began its bombardment and total siege of the Palestinian enclave in retaliation for a lethal incursion by Hamas militants on 7th of October. While there have been some limited deliveries of food, water and medicine since Saturday, no fuel has been allowed in. Israel is concerned about the possible diversion of fuel deliveries by Hamas. Israel's conditions for inspecting and tracking the aid, security risks, transporting and distributing it, and arrangement of its passage through a crossing not used in previous conflicts for large-scale relief efforts have all hampered work to get the operation off the ground. A woman had delivered a baby girl in the Gaza Strip right after she was taken out of the rubble following an Israeli airstrike on Tuesday. The mother unfortunately passed away an hour later. Attending doctors in Khan Yunis have said the baby girl is now in average to good conditions, but say the hospital is at risk of power cut, and once that happens, the incubators will be suspended and all babies will be in danger. Continuous attacks in the latest round of Israel-Palestine conflict have killed at least 2,360 children and injured 5,364 in the Gaza Strip since 7th of October, according to the data released by UNICEF on Tuesday this week. Multiple fires were seen ablaze at the border between Israel and Lebanon this morning as tensions between the two countries continue during a deepening crisis in the region. The United Nations Peacekeeping Force, UNIFIL, yesterday said it was working with Lebanese authorities to extinguish wildfires that have spread for several kilometers in South Lebanon after being started by gunfire along the Lebanese-Israeli borders. Heavily armed Hezbollah has been engaged in daily exchanges of fire with Israeli forces along the frontier since war broke out between Israel and Hamas on 7th of October. 40 Hezbollah fighters have been killed in the borderlands so far, while Israel's military says at least 7 soldiers have been killed. UN World Food Programme Executive Director Cindy McCain has criticized the strict checks on aid trucks at the Rafah crossing from Egypt into Gaza. McCain called the bureaucracy insane and said the rigorous procedures slow down the flow of aid, which prior to the conflict escalation used to see some 400 trucks cross each day, according to WPH. McCain told that people in Gaza are starving to death while just a dribble of aid trucks have made their way through. The WFP needs to raise $100 million to feed over 1 million people in Gaza to the end of this year, but McCain warned there is a decrease in donations due to worldwide donor fatigue. Israeli army spokesperson Daniel Hagari has said that an aerial threat has been spotted in the Red Sea region and linked this to a projectile that landed on Egyptian coastal territory there. Egypt's army spokesperson said that an unidentified drone crashed early in the morning today near a hospital building in the Red Sea town of Taba near the Sinai Peninsula border with Israel, injuring 6 people. Hagari also updated the number of people confirmed held hostage in Gaza to 229 from a previous count of 222. He said it was partly due to emerging intelligence and identification of foreign nationals who were not found in Israel. Kremlin has said Russia believes it is necessary to maintain contacts with all sides in the Israel-Palestinian conflict, defending a decision to invite a Hamas delegation to Moscow, which has prompted Israeli anger. Spokesman Dmitry Peskov said the delegation had met with representatives of Russia's foreign ministry but had no contacts with the Kremlin. Israel urged Russia on yesterday in fact, to expel the visiting Hamas delegation, calling their invitation to Moscow deplorable. Malaysia's royal families have elected the powerful and outspoken Sultan Ibrahim Sultan Iskandar from the southern state of Johor to be the country's next king. Sultan Ibrahim will take over from current King Al-Sultan Abdullah on January 31, 2024, the keeper of the ruler's seal said in a statement. The king plays a largely ceremonial role in Malaysia, but the monarchy has become more influential in recent years due to prolonged political instability that has prompted the incumbent king to wield rarely used discretionary powers. Malaysia has a unique system in which the head of its 9 royal families take turns to be monarch for a 5-year term. The Southeast Asian country is a parliamentary democracy, with the monarch serving as a head of state. United Arab Emirates have won the 3-nation T20 series, crushing Nepal in the finals played today by 4 wickets. The defeat halted coach Monty Desai's 16-match unbeaten run on home ground. In the tournament finale played in TU Cricket Ground, Kantipur, UAE won the toss as they asked Nepal to bat first. Nepal got off to a positive start with Kushal Bhurtel scoring a half-century as his 50 runs came off 29 balls. Nepal's middle order failed to stabilize the innings as they lost wickets at regular interval. Nepal failed to utilize the last over of the innings, scoring only 1 run. It meant that Nepal's total at the end proved below par. Young spinner Ayan Afzal Khan was the pick of the UAE bowlers as he claimed 3 crucial wickets. Ali Nasser and Zahoor Khan shared 2 wickets each for UAE. Chasing 163 runs for victory, opening batsman Mohammad Wasim provided UAE with a dream start as he scored a quick-fire 45 runs off 22 balls, putting on 71 runs for the first wicket partnership. The partnership eventually made the difference as UAE, despite losing a flurry of wickets, were always ahead of the asking run rate. The other opener, Ayans Sharma, scored 25 runs, while Vritya Arvind contributed 26 runs. Basil Hamid also chipped in with unbeaten 22 runs to finish off the chase. Nepal's fast bowling all-rounder Karan Casey was adjudged player of the series and best bowler as he walked away with Pulsar 160 motorbike. UAE's Ayan Afzal Khan was voted man of the match. Both Nepal and UAE will now head into the World Cup Asia region qualifiers for the T20 World Cup. Nepal take on Singapore in the opening match of the championship on coming Monday. That is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.